They told me to tell you to get off, and that's what I'm telling you.
You mean get off my own land?
Now, don't go to blaming me. It ain't my fault.
Whose fault is it?
You know who owns the land, the Shawnee Land and Cattle Company.
And who's the Shawnee Land and Cattle Company?
It ain't nobody. It's a company.
They got a president, ain't they? They got somebody who knows what a shotgun's for, ain't they?
Oh, son, it ain't his fault because the bank tells him what to do.
All right. Where's the bank?
Tulsa. What's the use of picking on him? He ain't nothing but the manager. And he's half crazy himself trying to keep up with his orders from the east.
Then who do we shoot?
Brother, I don't know.
Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? It's getting bad. I've been away for a couple of weeks, and I am back. And I can tell you a lot of different reports that I've looked over, a lot of news from overseas that we don't hear about here. It's really bad. I've been chatting with some friends over there in Europe, my friends from Great Britain. Almost everything that's happening here is happening there. The same media attacks against political groups who are not part of this agenda. So there is regime change taking place everywhere. There's a lot of leaders that we've seen resigned over the last couple of months. And those people were evil. And it looks like something good's going to happen until you find out that the people that's actually replacing them are much worse than the people that were there before. Get ready for a whole new round of lockdowns because that's going to be the excuse for crashing everything. We have economy crises everywhere. You have currency crisis everywhere. It's just getting worse. People are starting to protest their government because they're starting to realize that we're being lied to and we're being pushed into this direction. This new world order, World Economic Forum's Great Reset. Now, you can see in Davos in 2023, there's some panic with them. They're pushing now. They're pushing everything now. The only people who's going to get us out of this mess is us. So let's get back over to Iraq because their currency is going to hell in a handbasket. There's tons of news, but I'm only going to speak about the Iraqi Dinar. Before we get started, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so because when you do, it helps out the channel and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link will be down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code PIMPYSILVER. Yes, it has changed. PIMPYSILVER. So if you're watching this video and it's an older video, make sure you check on current videos because the code is going to be changing from time to time from now on. Also, I can be found on other platforms. Everybody knows I have my own website, Pimpy's News Network. Over here, I post videos that I can't get away with over on YouTube. Also, I have a group on Facebook called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here, we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. Come on over here and join us. It's free to do so. You can also come follow me on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, and Odyssey. The links for all these platforms will be down below in the description. So for whatever reason, if I get removed off of one platform, you could find me on the others. I posted a video earlier talking about I have started a Rumble account. I'm just finishing setting it up. As soon as it is complete, I will let you know. The link for my Rumble page is down below in the description for those of you who are interested. But just understand there's no videos there, not yet. I am just waiting for them to continue syncing the videos and bringing them over so that they're there for you. For those of you trying to reach me, pause the video. This is my address right here. Feel free to write it down and reach out to me. A couple of things I noticed as I've been monitoring the news. There's a lot of double speak. Still out there right now. You got people talking about, oh, you know, the back screens and their contacts are telling them. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to happen, you guys. Not anytime soon. As a matter of fact, they're now talking about going in the opposite direction as far as the exchange rate. We'll cover that here in just a second. But you can see right here in this article that Al-Sundini is doing everything he can to make sure that Iraq is prepared and locked and loaded and that they're in sync with the World Economic Forum's New World Order. There is a panic for time, and all those countries who are not connected when the time comes will be asked out. So there's a lot of push for these countries around the world to make sure that they are in lockstep with this movement. Now, don't get me wrong, there is opposing countries out there that we're seeing: China, Russia, India, Iran. The very people that we're being told are the boogeyman are not agreeing with this movement. So al-Sudini is doing what he can to make sure that he is lined up as well by allowing the Iraqi dinar currency to lose its value. I told you the US dollar was being used to crush currencies around the world. It's absolutely happening, and I'll show you here in just a moment. But al-Sudini and the delegation headed by the foreign minister will visit Washington to discuss repercussions of the dollar. I'm sure al-Sudini is concerned about is when they go to devalue again, you're going to have an uprising. There's already one happening now, and the media is not really covering the whole lot, but there have been some protests in front of these banks. Destroying the countries from within, destroying the entire structure that's taking place is all part of the plan. And then they're going to come in, and then after they destroy everything, they're going to come in and offer you a solution or force you into a solution, which is a central bank digital currency. So Prime Minister al-Sudini announced his visit of an Iraqi delegation to Washington to discuss the repercussions of the decision of the U.S. Federal Bank on Iraq and fluctuations in the dollar exchange rate. Look at this. This is the decision of the U.S. Federal Bank controls what's going on over there. And not just here, all over. The U.S. dollar is being used to destroy currencies. Al-Sudini admits that there is a rise in prices and says the window of selling the currency has distanced the financial and banking systems. Yeah, this is a planned event, you guys. I talked about this for years, talking about how their goal is to crash economies around the world, and it's already taken place. A deputy reveals the serious steps to reduce the dollar exchange rate. So can you fix the exchange rate? Can you make it stronger? So the deputy is telling us that he's going to reveal serious steps to reduce the dollar exchange rate. So you want to reduce the dollar. That would be going in the proper direction, okay? But again, let's get into this. Members of the House of Representatives, Sabari, revealed Saturday a series of steps for Parliament to reduce the exchange rate of the dollar. That's going in the right direction. The rise in exchange rate affects all segments of the Iraqi people. Sabari said in a statement to the news, "We met 2 days ago with the governor of the central bank and stressed to us the seriousness of working to reduce the exchange rate and stabilize it." So the stabilizing and the raising of the exchange rate is all handled by central banks around the world. He continued, "There are joint steps with the government on the one hand and with the U.S. Federal Bank on the other." See, this is what I was saying. When I found out the United States had the power and ability to affect markets around the world, it blew my mind. They have final say-so. And I did a video showing people that. It's like, how is this possible? How does the United States have so much power that the central bank has, that they can either destroy or strengthen an economy around the world? And sure enough, it's happening. You can see right here, this guy saying how we could fix this. It's going to take joint steps with the Iraqi government and the U.S. Federal Reserve. As you can see right here, the Iraqi dinar has been losing its strength. That's a planned event. So right here it says al-Sudini advisor presents proposals to confront the continued rise in the exchange rate. I jump up right here because it says, "We find that the state's intervention in the field of import trades a comprehensive national solution to provide price stability and provide an atmosphere of counter-competitive or monopoly cartels that send negative signals towards the stability of the Iraqi dinar exchange rate." Understand that what we're talking about here is globalists. Globalist countries, globalist NGOs, all in these different countries, causing the instability to happen with the economies as well as the currencies. They love the currency exchange rate to be low. This way then all of their labor costs are cheaper. He pointed out that the government commercial economy is the decisive solution and the lever of stability in two directions. The first is to provide a stable commodity supply and reassuring stocks of imported goods, especially the necessary goods with low flexibility in demand for them and affect the consumption of the people on a daily basis. The second is the abundance of goods supplied through government trade at the official exchange rate is a compensatory supply for foreign currency, and the demand for them is equivalent to helping to reduce the gap between the exchange rate, the central exchange rate, against the parallel exchange rate, and reduce the impact of these differences in exchange rates of inflation expectation in the economies. If every country is going through the same situation, how's this possible? Who's benefiting them? A new measure for the Central Bank of Iraq will raise the dollar exchange rate. The dollar exchange rate. That's the wrong direction. An official source in the Central Bank of Iraq revealed on Saturday that the bank has taken a new step which will push for the rise in the exchange rate of the dollar against Iraqi dinar in the local market. So the other article talks about steps taken to lower the dollar exchange rate, but that's just it. That's steps that need to be taken. And I told you, any other news being reported that doesn't come from the central bank is just BS. It said the Central Bank of Iraq will work from tomorrow, Sunday, to stop cash sales, and cash will only be sold through the electronic platform, which will reduce the value of cash sales. So here they already are pushing everybody towards the digital side of things. The source, who asked not to be named, indicated that the Central Bank of Iraq will not sell after tomorrow. Well, that was today, and we'll find out more about that here shortly. And this will cause the dollar exchange rate to rise. There will be a great demand for the dollar due to the suspension of cash sales, and the dollar may reach large levels exceeding 1,750 dinars for every $1 US. So prior to the 2020 devaluation of the Iraqi currency, you were getting 1,190 dinars for every dollar. We are heading in the direction of getting 1,750 dinars, which is a huge devaluation. It's going in the wrong direction. Basically, it started to get to the point where the Iraqi dinar is about as valuable as the Zim dollar. Central banks deny preventing or restricting cash sales of dollars. So they're saying that's just BS. Like I said, it's going to come out here shortly, the truth. So, although they have not made it official yet, we'll see if this happens. And yeah, I know I'm going to catch all kinds of crap for this because you guys don't want to hear the truth from me. You guys just want me to blow BS up your butt. That's not going to happen. It's starting to look like Iraq, along with several other countries, are in a serious currency crisis. And it's planned. It's absolutely planned, because the countries that are falling into currency issues are ones who are lined up with the World Economic Forum, which means they're doing what they're told. So let me prove it to you. To save Egypt's economy, get the army out of it. To the list of speculators runes across Egypt, you can now add its economy. The Egyptian pound lost half of its value over the past year and has been the world's worst performing currency in 2023. So that's Egypt with a currency crisis. Why Tinubu condemned fuel scarcity, currency crisis at campaign. So this here is Nigeria. They have a currency crisis. Pakistan rupee plunges as authorities loosen controls to revive bailout. Liberalization of exchange rate comes as the economic crisis worsens and the reserves dwindle. Pakistan has abandoned controls on its currency exchange rate as authorities attempt to revive an IMF bailout. What did I tell you? That's what's going to happen. The IMF is going to come to the rescue for everybody and try to tell the world that we're having a liquidity issue. That's what they're going to say. They're going to lie and they go, oh, the only way we can fix this because there's not enough dollars in demand is we have to have a central bank digital currency. So they want to attempt to revive a IMF bailout, sending the rupee to a record low as the crisis hits economy risk collapse. Pakistan's central bank has in recent months enforced an unofficial exchange rate for money charges that kept the rupee artificially high. You can see here Pakistan has a currency crisis. Europe has a currency crisis. Lower inflation could mean trouble for the Eurozone. Rising prices have papered over a lot of problems with this single currency, but disinflation could bring them back. So you have a lot of countries that are starting to push to join the European Union. This is bad. They should have went the other way. And what happens is once you join the European Union, then you start using the euro is what you use. It makes the euro stronger. That's why they were pissed when they had Brexit, because that just weakened their currency. As more countries are getting crushed, then more of them are wanting to join the European Union in hopes of financial security is what it is. But again, still planned event. So Europe has a currency crisis. How currency collapse compounds Iranian regime's crisis of legitimacy. So over in Kurdistan, Iran's currency has been hitting record lows against the US dollar. People would say, oh, it's because of the sanctions. Yeah, I get all that. But what's the excuse for the other countries? They're not under sanctions. Everybody's going through it. Sure, the sanctions don't help, but they are having a currency crisis as well, which observers say is the reflection of the regime's increasing isolation on the international stage. Who are those people who don't want to fall in line with this World Economic Forum's agenda? Iran, China, India, Russia, just to name a couple. And these are the countries that are being crushed around the world to the point where they're having to go to war to fight back. And I'll do a video later on showing you, I'm not lying. We are at war with Russia. It's just not officially being named. And we are about to go to war with China. And I mean literal war with China, not a proxy war. Worst of inflation, growth and currency crisis behind us, RBI. So this is India having a currency crisis. Cryptocurrency crisis. IMF involved. IMF Division Chief and Deputy Managing Director calls for urgent regulatory action. They want to control all of the cryptocurrencies. SBF, the guy that runs the FTX, it's just ridiculous because Gary Gensler, all he was doing was using a cryptocurrency or a platform to do exactly what our country wanted, and that is to just damage the reputation of exchanges, damage the reputation of cryptocurrencies, give the government excuses to grab control of it. And that's exactly what they're going to do. All you people out there talking about, no, decentralized, Pimpy, decentralized. There's no such thing. I know you're being told that, but no. 2023, a critical year for Sri Lanka, who turned around its crisis-struck economy. Well, how'd they do that? They overthrew their government and demanded debt jubilee. So I have not heard whether or not Sri Lanka's people that overthrew their government, did they get their demands met? I'll look more into that. They want debt jubilee. They want the IMF and the World Bank out of their country. I did a video, you guys are aware about this. I spoke about what I thought was a pretty admirable demand by the people of Sri Lanka, but they still are in the grips of a crisis. Myanmar plunges deeper into economic crisis. They have a currency crisis going on as well. You can see right here, this begins with a cash shortage, rapid depreciation of its dollar against major currencies, such as the US dollar. The US dollar is being used to crush currencies around the world. Lebanon's restaurants charge in scarce dollars as pound sinks to new low. Lebanon having a currency crisis. So all the things we spoke about in the past are starting to come around. Top 10 global risk for 2023, food shortage, economic crisis, and growing debt problems. So they're trying to convince the citizens of the world that there's a liquidity issue. If your government is controlling the currency, how is there a liquidity issue? Over here in the United States, liquidity doesn't seem to be a problem. They seem to be able to just print willy-nilly whenever the hell they want to. Why not other governments? Silent killer, liquidity crisis will stalk a global financial system in 2023. So they're going to try to convince us that money is the issue, mismanagement of money by governments. And since there's a liquidity issue around the world, and the only resolution that they have is going to be, come on, say it, central bank digital currency. Foreign exchange crisis continue. The current shortage of dollars in Pakistan, it's not just Pakistan, it's all over. The shortage of dollar syndrome started taking shape in 2022. Is that right? A shortage of dollar syndrome. It went from bad to worse despite many actions taken by the coalition government, and currently it appears that it may not be possible to procure enough dollars to continue with resuming normal import requirements. How? Who's responsible for the dollars? How is there a liquidity issue? Are they talking about the US dollars? Because we got, what is that, 31 trillion of them out there. There shouldn't be an issue. Are they talking about their own local government? How is there an issue? If you own the printing press, what is the problem? They're trying to convince us that there's a shortage of liquidity despite the fact that they control it. So they're going to continue to devalue currencies around the world. That's what they're going to do. It's going to cause businesses to close down, prices to go up, people won't be able to work. You saw at the beginning of this video, that's the grapes of wrath. What did that guy say? In the beginning, he goes, "What do you mean you want me to get off my property?" The guy said, "Yeah, the bank told you to get off the property." What did that guy say? Well, who's the guy in charge of it that needs to see a gun? That needs to see a shotgun? That's when citizens wouldn't tolerate it, man. They're like, hey, enough of this. It's time for the citizens to stand up. But before they make the boldest push to do what they want to do, they have to find a way to take the arms away from American citizens. We are the world's largest army, and we're a constant threat to this agenda as long as we are armed. Every day we're seeing more and more of these events of bad police, mass shootings. Everything is increasing. These are false flag events that are meant to push a certain agenda. One is to force us into that smart city technology so that a bureaucrat of people can monitor and police everybody from televisions. And the other one is to find a way to disarm the American people. Every day, it's getting worse. We used to hear about mass shootings once every few months. Then it's like once a month. Now it's like once or twice a week now. Look, it's by design, you guys. If you're stupid enough to give up your guns, then that's on you. Anyways, you guys, it doesn't look good for currencies anywhere, and that's why I keep telling everybody to go to gold. Somebody said, well, Pimpy, they can devalue gold too. Sure they can. That's paper gold. The actual physical gold, you can't. You see, the people are who determine the actual value of gold and silver, not the paper market. So if they want to try to outlaw it, or if they want to try to crush the US dollar and try to force us into central bank digital currency, well, then guess what? You start doing all your purchasing and trading in gold and silver. People are out there, well, how do you make that happen? You can figure it out, you guys. Start talking to each other in your community. You determine what your currency is worth, not the government. Anyways, that's it for now. Leave your comment down below, and I'll get back to you. I'm out.